Well, good morning, everybody, for Easter Monday, the 18th of April. Cold front has gone through week one overnight and leaving behind it slack westerly airflow across the country, which is a little bit better of an air mass direction for what we'd want. A trough lies out just south of Ireland, but should not really influence too much of this local area today, though in areas sort of west of Wales and into southwest England, it'll certainly be poorer. But for this area today, looking fairly reasonable and unstable. Those winds, as I said, coming in from the west, nice and light, no more than 10 knots, and generally straight westerly. The satellite picture currently shows a fair amount of upper level clouds above us at the moment, a bit milky, a bit like yesterday. Hopefully some of that will burn back, but I imagine it will remain a fairly noticeable feature for some of the day. Certainly the forecast for today has dropped a little bit from quite what it could be, but it'll certainly be better than what we had yesterday and hopefully a bit more cumulus in the west. But yeah, upper level cloud is hanging about at the moment. Public forecasts sort of shows that hanging about for some of the day at a top temperature today of around 14 degrees with that west to west southwesterly wind. If we get a little bit more sunshine, might see 15 degrees or so, but I think that's the max we're going to see today in this area. And dew points, hopefully a bit lower than they were yesterday, sitting at around 5. So still a good split if we do get some cumulus popping. Currently at Odium, we've got southwesterly winds, no cloud detected and good visibility. If I just compare that to Farnborough, they're saying it's going to be blue for most of today in this area, with Cavo K being in the forecast, but an easy straight westerly down the runway. And let's just look a bit further afield. Oxford, again, saying blue, potentially. Shallow Q, saying Cavo K. Whilst Bryce Norton, where there's more chance of cumulus, saying few clouds at 4,500 feet. And Gloucester, saying very similar, few at 4,000 feet. So west or northwest is best today. Certainly down towards the south, probably not quite as good. Looking at potential flight distance for today, let's go for an 18-meter glider. That's always a bit more optimistic. That's sort of your area today. So once again, out towards the Cotswolds. Not bad immediately due south, but to the southeast and southwest, looking a lot poorer. So yeah, probably looking once again up towards the Cotswolds. It's not going to be an early start though. At 11 o'clock, it's probably not even soarable here. By sort of 12 o'clock, we're probably getting cumulus, not cumulus, blue triggering to maybe 2,500, 3,000 feet. By around 2 o'clock, we will have blue to shallow Q in this area up to around 3,500 feet, better out towards Lynham, Swindon, the Cotswolds. We'll probably be on the border of the cumulus for most of the day. Hopefully it will be a little bit more east than it suggests on here. But with climbs probably getting up to around 4,000 feet, maybe 4.5. The chance of it getting up towards closer to 5,000, closer to the Aston Down and the Cotswolds. But again, reasonable out towards Oxford, but anywhere sort of east of Bicester, looking like it's going to be fairly blue. And certainly down towards the southeast, fairly blue, and even the chance of some showers or some drizzle out to the west, probably linked with that trough as it comes closer. Being a westerly, it shouldn't switch off too early here. Probably, if you're on final glide by 5 o'clock, then you'll probably get back in quite nicely, but it will shut off fairly quickly after that. But yeah, not really sea air at all today, being that direction. Cloud amounts, the lighter blue there indicating this upper level cloud, which will sit with us for a lot of the day, potentially a bit thicker in our area compared to the west and northwest. Chance of some overdevelopment in the Salisbury Plain or down towards the southwest, maybe linked with that trough. But yeah, reasonable once again in the Cotswolds by this forecast. So I'm sure that's where you'll be going. Site forecast shows, launching around midday to 1 o'clock, peaking here at 4,000 feet. 2 to 3 knot climbs, maybe getting a bit weaker in the afternoon, and yeah, that westerly wind very much present. Unfortunately, the soundings aren't working on my system today, but I don't think there was anything really of note than what Top Meteo is showing you here. Freezing level should be well above your soaring height today, and as we can see here, probably only getting to 14 degrees or so. We need probably around 12 degrees to get anywhere decent. So yeah, let's just see if I've got anything else. Let's look at Uphaven, that's a bit further west. Yeah, maybe a little bit stronger and more chance of cumulus and stronger climbs. Uphaven and Oxford, very similar. So fairly clear task direction today, I'd say. I'll just check if David has updated anything. It's a bit hit and miss. Yes, he has. So weak fronts go through the morning. The air mass behind is quite reasonable, as you can read that. But yeah, thick top cover, but hopefully moving away east. And yeah, that trough that we've just been talking about out to the west. So yeah, not a bad day, but not a classic gliding day by any means, but useful for the British team training. Okay, airspace wise, 16 will be paragliding, which is just south of the Bryce zone. 18 is paragliding in Gloucestershire. 15, I don't think you'd be going quite that far. Model rocket firing in the Severn Valley, 3,500 feet. Watch out for rockets. Salisbury Plain, once again, the danger areas have been lowered in some places, Imber and Lark, I think it's Imber and Larkhill, to 3,000 feet. There may be others that have been lowered too, so check that in more detail if you're going to use those areas. And pretty much that is it. Operationally today, we will be 2-7. Please grid on the north side. Winch will be on the south side of the runway. Had a couple of reports that it's getting a little bit interesting in thermals. I said, I'm not the sky police, but please do make sure you're looking after each other out there. We are sort of taking notes that things have been getting a little bit close, and it's that time of the year where everybody's getting back into it. So please consider others as well as yourself when joining thermals. And also when planning final glides and local pilots flying in the circuits, behaving appropriately. So yeah, just a general airmanship thing, and do keep a very good lookout at the moment. There, as much as we're active, everywhere else is active as well. And I know that local airfields have got a really busy program for today. Excellent. Okay, so as many of you on the grid as possible, and we'll launch very close to lunchtime. We've got plenty of tugs. See you on the airfield. Bye for now.